Connie Royce.
24-year-old Connie Lynn Royce was last seen on June 1, 1990, when she visited Hayloft, a now-defunct bar in the 100 block of North Gresham in Mount Clemens, Michigan, just days prior to this. She'd met a man identified only as Greg, and they agreed to meet on June 1st for a date. That evening at around 9 p.m., she drove to his apartment to share a few drinks with Greg and his roommate, Brad. Before they went to the Hayloft at around 10 p.m., the bar staff on shift that night would later recall that there was nothing unusual about the trio. There were no disturbances or disagreements, and they were, by all accounts, behaving normally. Then, at around 11 p.m., while Greg was in the restroom, Connie's behavior shifted abruptly. She reportedly told Brad, "Have to get out of here." She subsequently left the table, leaving behind her handbag. CCTV footage showed the 24-year-old barefoot and appearing drunk as she bumped into the wall before stumbling out the entrance. There's been some suggestion that Connie was drugged, although there is no way to know for certain at this time. When Greg returned from the bathroom, Brad told him what had happened. The two men headed outside to check on Connie and return her handbag, but were stumped to find that she was nowhere to be seen. The pair then decided to stay at the bar until closing time, 2 a.m., to see if Connie returned, but she never did. Shortly after Connie left the Hayloft, a pizzeria worker claimed that somebody matching her description was at a payphone 1 block from a bar. There was also a late 1970s model car near her, but it is unclear she entered the vehicle, as nobody witnessed her doing so. This sighting has not been confirmed as being Connie, and though investigators tried to pull the records from the payphone, they were unsuccessful. Just days after the 24-year-old was last seen, reports came in that she was spotted at the Newport Apartments around 5 minutes from the Hayloft. However, this sighting was investigated by authorities and it was determined to not be related to the case. Was reported missing 3 days after she was last seen on June 4th, when her family grew concerned because they hadn't heard from her. Both Greg and Brad, the two men who were with Connie on the night she went missing, have been cleared as suspects in the case. Investigators described him as forthcoming and noted that their stories were consistent and matched with the bar staff's. Connie's light blue 19 electron-volts Chevy Citation, which she used to drive to Greg's apartment, still remained there after she went missing. There is no indication she returned to the vehicle after she left the bar. This case has seen virtually no progress since 1990. In 2019, the case was reopened, although nothing has come from this fresh examination yet. Detective Lieutenant Melissa Stevens with the Macomb County Sheriff's Office has stated her belief that Connie got into a car with someone and that something happened. There has been much speculation over the years about whether Connie's disappearance is linked to other vanishings and murders in nearby parts of Michigan. It has been suggested that her case is linked without a Paige Rankowski, a 30-year-old school teacher who vanished on May 24, 1990. She was last seen talking to two men on the shoulder of Interstate 96 near Fowlerville, Michigan, after she dropped her mother off at the airport. Bizarrely, though her vehicle was reported as abandoned on the side of the highway, the officer who responded to the scene did not treat the incident as suspicious and simply had the car towed. Despite the fact that the engine was still running and both Paige's shoes and her handbag were still inside the vehicle. There are suspicions that Paige's case is connected to Connie's due to the closeness in location, timing, and physical victimology. At one point, it was also suggested that Connie fell victim to Leslie Williams, a serial killer currently incarcerated for taking the lives of 4 teenage girls in Michigan in 1991 and 1992. However, Williams was still in prison at the time of the disappearance. According to the Already Gone podcast, Connie was living with her parents at the time of her disappearance. She was newly divorced after a short-lived marriage and dated another man not long before she vanished, breaking off the relationship when a verbal argument led to police involvement. However, both of these ex-partners have been cleared of suspicion. 24-year-old Connie Lynn Royce was last seen at around 11 p.m. on June 1, 1990, when she left a Hayloft bar in the 100 block of North Graham in Mount Clemens, Michigan. Connie is described as a white woman with sandy blonde hair. She has 2 tattoos, 2 names and a heart on her right shoulder, and a bumblebee on her right. Her ears are pierced, and she has a gap between her front teeth. She is 5'3" and weighed around 120 pounds at the time of her disappearance. When she went missing, she was shoeless and wearing a black form-fitting sleeveless mini dress with a flower print skirt. Her maiden name is Bostic, and if she is still alive, she will be 57 years old. If you have any information about Connie's disappearance, you can contact the Macomb County Sheriff's Detective Bureau at 586-307-9358. And there you have the facts. Please leave a comment down below with your own theories and speculations. And remember to like this video and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you for watching. Stay alert, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Michael Martin. 25-year-old Michael Martin was last seen on August 7, 2016. Described as a doting brother and a loving son who always put his family first, Michael's sudden disappearance from Kearsley, Greater Manchester, England has left his loved ones shocked and distraught. On the morning of August 7th, Michael was in a car with his friend when the vehicle came to an abrupt stop. It is believed that the 25-year-old had some sort of argument with his friends, which led to the friend grabbing the steering wheel and pulling the vehicle to a halt. During the argument, the key in the ignition snapped, meaning the car could no longer be driven. The two men were captured on camera by nearby residents who overheard the commotion, and Michael can be seen wearing only one shoe. The two men were then seen looking for something, and investigators theorized later that they were looking for and have been arguing over money with the key broken. The two men managed to jumpstart the car, and the friend drove it to the Esso petrol station on the same road, the A666 Bolton Road. Michael followed on foot. While the friend entered the shop to try and get the tools to fix the car, Michael was seen on CCTV opening several of the car doors, entering the vehicle's passenger seat and sitting before getting out again, and walking into the shop where he reportedly signaled to his friend that he wanted to leave. When he returned to the vehicle, he appeared to stand at the boot before turning and fleeing from the scene. He looked behind him as he ran. Michael was captured on CCTV again moments later, running down a nearby alleyway named Back Bolton Road, still wearing only one shoe. This is the last known footage of Michael, and he has never been seen or heard from since. His bank account and his phone have not been used since his disappearance. Though he is described as being family-oriented and a devoted friend, Michael's mother, Karen Williams, has also noted that he suffered from anxiety and depression, and stated these mental health issues had led to him becoming paranoid about any little thing and suspicious of people in the months before he went missing. After Michael fled, the friend he was with reportedly entered the vehicle and drove away. The car, a black Ford Focus, was located in blackly wood damage to the ignition and one of the windows. It had been abandoned. Michael's second car, a blue Vauxhall Corsa, was also found abandoned and damaged on Bannerman Avenue and Press Switch around 5 days after he went missing. Neither vehicle appears to have provided investigators with compelling evidence. On August 16th, law enforcement confirmed that they were treating Michael's disappearance as a homicide case. They subsequently searched 2 properties in Blackley, a house on Longton Road, and a flat on Victoria Avenue. Most neighbors were reportedly unfamiliar with whoever occupied the Longton Road property, which had a boarded-up broken window on the first floor. A room at a Premier and on Middleton Road was also examined. The man Michael was with on the day he went missing was arrested shortly after the disappearance, but was subsequently released. Another unidentified individual was arrested a short time later, but they were released pending further investigation. No charges were ever filed against either individual. In 2018, 2 years after the disappearance, police revealed that they believe Michael had been part of Salford's criminal underworld and had been exploited by an organized crime gang. Detectives discovered that the night before he disappeared, Michael picked up a large sum of money. This led them to conclude that the argument earlier between Michael and his friend was over money. Authorities noted that this money has never been recovered, and they have suggested the possibility that Michael was targeted by somebody who knew he had it. They believe that the money was almost certainly tied to criminal dealings. Investigators added, "Some of Michael's friends are gang members. I believe they know what has happened to Michael. They may be involved in his murder, in his disappearance." The gang Michael was involved with had links to drug dealing and high-value robberies. The following year, Clifton Country Park was searching connection with Michael's case, but nothing of note was found. There have been no new updates in the case since, and the police are appealing for anyone with information to come forward. As of 2020, a reward of £10,000 is available for information which leads to the arrest and conviction of Michael's killer or killers. His parents have described Michael's disappearance as a living hell. If you have any information about Michael's case, you can call Crime Stoppers anonymously. Lisa Govan. 28-year-old Lisa Govan was last seen in the early hours of October 8, 1999 in the vicinity of the Foundry Hotel on Boulder Road, Kalgoorlie, Western Australia. Two independent witnesses confirmed seeing the young woman who'd spent the night clubbing, but after this time, she was never seen again. On the evening of October 7th, Lisa dropped her boyfriend off at work before heading to Safari nightclub to meet up with friends where she is seen on CCTV mingling with other patrons. The group stayed there until the early hours of the morning. At around 4:45 a.m., she headed out in a taxi with a work colleague known as the Bald Man. However, shortly afterwards, Lisa headed back to the nightclub to see her friends again. Reportedly, the Bald Man told investigators he expected to see the 28-year-old in the morning at his home, but she didn't turn up, which caused him to call her mobile phone repeatedly. This man has been ruled out as a suspect in the case. Later on the morning of October 8th, Lisa visited the Darrow's outlaw motorcycle gang headquarters on Boulder Road, attached to the Foundry Hotel. She had reportedly been invited to visit here. Lisa socialized and played billiards. There are mixed reports about when she was last seen, with several articles placing her outside the building between 7:15 and 7:30, where she was observed on Boulder Street talking on her mobile phone, and witnesses said she did not appear distressed or afraid at the time. Other reports note that she was seen inside the clubhouse at 7:45 a.m., but was not seen leaving. Either way, Lisa has not been seen or heard from since. Two further witnesses would later come forward, one of whom claimed to have seen her walking in a southerly direction down Boulder Road. Another alleged that they'd seen her in the car park at McDonald's on Boulder Road, speaking with two men on motorbikes. However, neither witness account has been confirmed. Lisa's family were very confused to learn that she had been spending time at the clubhouse, but several of her friends knew what she was doing. Although they warned her the risks that came with befriending members of a biker gang, Lisa appeared to be unfazed by her new friendships. Lisa's boyfriend reported her missing. He first became alarmed when he returned from a night shift to find that she still wasn't home. While he tried to file a police report immediately, he was told he would need to wait 48 hours as Lisa was an adult. He drove around looking for the 28-year-old, but was unable to find when Lisa's parents became aware of her disappearance. They took the searching for any sign of her of their own volition, using metal detectors. They attempted to find some of her clothing or other belongings, but nothing ever came from their desperate search. Calgo, back in 1999, is described as the Wild West in the cowboy town, and many investigators believe the residents know what happened to Lisa, but are afraid to speak up. Due to the presence of violent biker gangs, detectives have theorized that Lisa died on October 8th inside the biker clubhouse. But note that the investigation is hampered by a, quote, bikie code of silence, which has left witnesses unwilling to talk. They approached senior members of the gang shortly after the 28-year-old vanished. But a week passed before authorities carried out a raid on the clubhouse where she was last seen. A report by the Midwest Times claims that many modern detectives working on the case believe that the bikers were kept informed by corrupt officers who regularly drank at the pub shoulder to shoulder with bikies. And in 2002, it was revealed that a senior officer had a financial interest in the Foundry Hotel in 1999, causing many to further scrutinize the original investigation. In more recent years, detectives revealed photographs of a white 1985 Toyota Land Cruiser which was seen arriving at the clubhouse on the morning of the disappearance. They're hoping to find the original vehicle to see if there is any DNA available that they can use for testing. Lisa Govan was 28 when she vanished from Kalgoorlie, Western Australia. She was last seen in the early hours of October 8, 1999, on Boulder Road near the Foundry Hotel and connected to the Darrow's biker gang clubhouse. Lisa is described as a white woman with brown hair and blue eyes. She's around 5 foot tall and of a slim build and was last seen wearing a black skirt, black long-sleeve top, black sandals, and a leather choker with a dolphin pendant. A $1 million reward is currently available for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person or people behind Lisa's suspected murder. If you have any information about the case, you can call Crime Stoppers.